First day on the job. It's been a while since I was a starting quarterback. I'm so ready to prove myself. Oh, hey, Arthur Smith. Yeah, long time no see, right? Oh, hey, Marcus, how's it going? Long time no see. I remember benching you in Tennessee. Hey, AJ Terrell actually said that Malik Willis and him played in high school together, so we were thinking about getting a quarterback anyway. We kind of don't really believe in you. You're kind of just this bridge quarterback, but hey, we are excited to see what you got, so prove yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to play for you guys. What's going on, Falcons fans? Logan here. Welcome back to Rise Up Rundown, and if you're new here, welcome. I should have talked about this a long time ago, and technically I did when he first got signed to the team, but here we are going over a little more in depth on how I feel about Marcus Mariota. Will he turn his career around in Atlanta, or do I still think he's this bridge quarterback like I initially said when we first picked him up? I will say my thoughts on the whole bridge quarterback thing, not a whole lot has changed, because I'll be real with you, I kind of do still think he's just a bridge quarterback. I don't think he's going to be here in the long run, but are there any reasons that he could, turn his career around in Atlanta? Are there any optimistic things to say about this guy? Yes, but there are also some pretty big concerns I have on him, and I'll go over that first. And I will warn you that the concerns I have are pretty concerning. But Marcus Mariota, he did not really have the career that we all thought he would in the NFL. He went second overall in 2015. We all thought he would, turn the Titans franchise around and win them Super Bowls, and that did not happen. And a lot of people are quick to think that the whole, change at coach, like he kept having to work with different coaches over and over, and they think that's why he failed, because it's obviously hard to learn all these different playbooks and whatnot. And that is true, but I also am going to say that might be BS. Now, again, it is hard to learn different playbooks and all, but this is not uncommon in the NFL for quarterbacks to work with crappy situations but still deliver. And I'm going to use multiple examples of that. And the first one, actually, ironically, is our former quarterback, Matt Ryan. All the times we had to change the offensive coordinator for him and even a little bit of head coach, the amount of times he had to learn these new playbooks was insane, but he still was that consistent quarterback that we all watched every single year. Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson, they couldn't get an O-line to save their life, but they still were in that top 2, top 4 category in quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers couldn't get any receivers around him, but was still winning all these MVPs. So what I'm trying to say is, obviously football is a team sport, but a team shouldn't really develop the quarterback. A quarterback should kind of develop the players around him. And I know what you're going to say. Oh, come on. Like you're saying Marcus Mariota just didn't need help to develop. That's not what I'm trying to say. Marcus Mariota obviously did need help to develop. But the problem is the Titans did give him help to try and develop him. And it seemed like nothing ever worked. Like they gave him these different coaches and all these receivers and tight ends and a couple good offensive linemen, and nothing ever worked for the Titans. It seemed like he was just still that, quarterback that he just wasn't the quarterback they wanted him to be. But as soon as Ryan Tannehill gets in, all of a sudden the Titans are contenders. And keep in mind, Ryan Tannehill was not a proven quarterback. In fact, he wasn't even a quarterback in college. What? This is a bit concerning. So as soon as Marcus Mariota leaves the Titans end up being this, playoff team every year, basically, with Ryan Tannehill. And though, Ryan Tannehill might not be perfect, the Titans are still doing better with him than they did with Marcus Mariota. And now Marcus Mariota, he was never a starter again until now, maybe. So that's concerning. So Marcus Mariota, every time he got help, it seemed like he just never developed. Why is that? to me, I think he just never really used the traits that we all saw he had in college. He just simply never used that strong arm that he had, and he never used that mobility that we saw in college. He kind of just stayed in the pocket. He didn't really do anything. So I don't really know why that was, but yeah, he didn't use those traits. And then another thing is he always was freaking injured, so that doesn't help either. So those are my main concerns with Marcus Mariota is they kept throwing help at him and it just didn't seem to work. He didn't use his traits and he kept getting injured. Those are pretty big concerns for Ryan Tannehill. Marcus Mariota. So, are there any optimistic things to say about this guy? Yes. And I will go over that. For one thing, it kind of backtracks to what I said in my previous video about Arthur Smith. I said if there's any guy that can turn things around in Atlanta with a roster like this, I think it would be Arthur Smith, because look at what he did with Ryan Tannehill, actually. He was an unproven quarterback, and Arthur Smith was able to turn his career around. He made Cordero Patterson last year like so much better than he was in years past. Kyle Pitts broke out in year one. Marcus Mariota has worked with Arthur Smith before, and he got benched by Arthur Smith. So Arthur Smith might look at him and be like, listen, do you want to be benched again, or do you want me to coach you up and actually play some football? So that's just one thing. But two, I do kind of feel like Marcus Mariota, to his credit, he actually did improve a little bit throughout the years, especially with the Raiders. When he was with the Raiders, he did not play starting quarterback, but he kind of developed himself a little more in his time in Las Vegas. He used a little bit more of his mobility and his arm, and I think he actually kind of developed a little more swagger in him. That's actually another thing that I was a little concerned about, but I didn't list it as a problem because I'm not going to act like I know Marcus Mariota personally, but I think in the beginning of his career, he kind of had that, golden boy, like nice guy mentality, and it wasn't going anywhere. But Marcus Mariota, throughout his time with the Raiders, I think he developed a little more of that swagger, and I think he's kind of a little more confident in himself. Again, I'm not going to act like I know him personally, but it's what it seems like as a football fan, I guess. So I think with a little more swagger brought in, and him kind of developing himself, using a little more of that mobility in his arm when he was with the Raiders, imagine what he might do with Arthur Smith again, now that he kind of improved himself a little bit. And last but not least, I think he has a little bit of that, pressure, or I guess like the monkey on his back, because he knows whether the Falcons get a quarterback in the draft this year or not, either way, Marcus Mariota has a lot to prove, because he's like, I'm getting a second chance at being the starting quarterback. I improved myself a little bit with the Raiders. I'm working with a coach that benched me before. I am not going to do that again. And if they are to get a quarterback, obviously that is a huge, okay, I definitely got to improve myself kind of situation there. So Marcus Mariota, I do have a little bit of concerns with him, but I also kind of see why he could turn things around. Am I going to predict he does? I do think he's going to play a little better than he did in Las Vegas and Tennessee, but as far as, turning his career around, we'll just see. I kind of need to see a little more from him before I say he does, but I can see why he could. But we'll see. Again, he'll be better. I think he'll be fine, but, we'll see. We'll see what happens, but I think he'll be better. But those are my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Other than that, I will see you guys with a video this Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern. Love and appreciate y'all for the support. And as always, rise up.